Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds Grand Finals Day 3, game number 3. Enjoy.
Porcelain emblem alongside that Fortune one. Anything that you feel like you could do there?
I really want to see Bintum actually play for a Fortune. We actually haven't seen it this much. He is known for playing some micro Fortune spots where he just gets 2 components, is happy with it. But we'll see if he's able to find that third Fortune to start his stacks.
Yeah, right now just the Kobuko. Most likely one is to find the Teemo, and then if not, it ends up being, you know, maybe do you find it in a 3-cost orb, or do you find it on the carousel after lost streaking for a little bit? But those are not ideal, and I don't know that Bintum would necessarily try and play for that out.
So let's see, it's a silver augment. That means that there's not going to be super high caps. No one's going to get an extra emblem unless there is branching out. So that's kind of the highlights when you have these trainer sentinel into silver augments.
There's a pumping up here for Bintum. I also see Lee Tutron actually thinking about Stim Pack. That is going to be the selection of choice for him.
Yeah, big risky moves from Dish Soap. Going to get a big injection of gold in a little bit here, but starting out on much lower HP. Did get a buff, right? Is now like 33 gold from that risky move, so definitely looking to see Dish Soap end up having a big swing when that cash out comes.
Oh, this is perfect for Dish Soap's spot. He wants to go into the ghostly reroll so he can just lose streak and then start rolling on 3-5. Maybe go for the 3-cost as the general line between Zoe and then also the Ilaoi. The 2 high-power silver augments I want to talk about are going to be those fine vintages that we see on the board from Lisa and Asta. These are the highest cap ones, and both of them are moving in different directions.
Yeah, Asta having the Story Weaver and being able to play around the Kale with the Fine Vintage and actually be able to just buff that up even further is something I haven't seen in a while, and I'm curious if Asta takes that specific direction. Outside of that, you know, Lee Sao has been the melee player, and Fine Vintage is perfect to go into that line.
The Fine Vintage line with the Story Weaver is a little less seen, but it's very important because you cannot itemize your Kale. The only way you can get it is actually the support items going in. And Dish Soap is just laughing. I'm playing reroll. You give me reroll. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, he'll take a Darius.
I think there are a couple of other people that might enjoy having that Darius as well, especially if Ningli wants to actually lean a little bit heavier into something like the Cho'Gath and the Caitlyn. Maybe you want to go down that Mythic route, especially when you take a look at Lee Tutron as well. Actually has the Mythic and starting to get the Heavenly package online.
Ooh, we could get some Kog'Maw reroll coming out here. This is a composition that does need a lot of different items. He's starting to reroll the 1-cost as we see on the bottom here.
Yeah, this is huge. He has upgraded 1-cost as well, so these are going to be able to try and find those big hits. If he high rolls into the Kog'Maws, into the front line, and actually hits so quickly, it could be an insane spot.
The only thing that he would be missing if he wants to go for the Kog'Maw reroll is something like the blue buff on the bench. Doesn't have any tiers yet to be able to make that item.
Yeah, that's
He does have the Stim Pack, so I think he will be trying to lose streak here.
Yeah, I like it. And we look at this Sniper Mythic. That's kind of perfect. That's just giving you exactly what you would want for the Kog'Maw. Opens up either to be able to drop the Caitlyn, but you actually have Ghostly as well, so there's even links there. Maybe you can actually play like 4 Sniper randomly on this board, which is not something that's commonly done.
Or could drop the Caitlyn knowing that you could just put an Ilaoi in and get the Ghostly
Yeah, you still get the 2 Ghostly that way.
This is going to be a very accelerated tempo in this game. Everyone's already going for the 1-cost. Does find 2 of them right there, and as you can see, Liu Tutuan could have made interest but decided to hold the 1-cost, so he's definitely more committed to the line than some others on reroll.
All right, on board with Lee Sao, we're going to start to see those fine vintages stack up. We do have the Reaper, and then that's just an easy go button to try and go into that path. You can drop one of them throughout the game, and Lee Sao consistently has gone for this line, consistently has found some success with it. He's been kind of forced out in this lobby a few times by other players going into the Reapers, but this time it seems like he's got an open lane.
Yeah, and we have to look at the encounters here. There is one dropping on 2-6, so you really want to look for things like the Zyra, the Diana, the Lee Sin. You just pop 3 components or 3 items, it makes the power level of Fine Vintage so much stronger. However, I will say if you don't get any of them, it drops off significantly.
Oh, for sure. Have to see if we can find that as we have the first carousel coming up.
It's going to be a normal carousel here. We're going to be looking for some tiers, especially for someone like Ning Li, who doesn't have one just yet and is angling for Kog'Maw.
Kind of curious, actually. We haven't gotten a chance to see Dr. O's board yet, but what do you kind of make of the Behemoth, the Sage, and the Ghostly all together?
Ooh, I honestly think Dr. O was robbed last game from all of the sudden Janna encounters popping up. He was playing Ghostly Zoe, did not have a lot of backliners. So I'm saying justice for KR. They're much better than bottom 3.
Yeah, needs some
Try it
justice.
again.
Didn't necessarily get that out of his Sentinel. It's not like an easy one to navigate, and so we'll see how Dr. O actually plays it, if he can just use it for tempo.
And looking forward, we do have one big lose streaker in Bintum. Already has the 3 fortune online, and maybe it's time he gets a taste of his own medicine. Is known for just breaking everyone's streaks.
Somebody grief him! Somebody get him!
Somebody.
On the other side of that, I want to talk about Dish Soap playing incredibly low econ because he has the risky moves, right? He's just playing for this aggressive win streak, knowing that that gold's going to come back later.
And I do have to correct myself. He actually has the perfect line for something that Ningli will be very familiar with, the Umbral Invoker line. This one has been flying under the radar for a long time, but if you look at the Exalted, it fits perfectly. You have Annie in the Invoker, Silas there
so sick.
for the Umbral. So you put it all in. This is one of the strongest comps that you have, especially with Exalted.
Yeah, Dish Soap has infinite plans, right? So he's definitely going to have this one in the pocket. There we go, Bintum trying to keep the loss streak, and he will succeed in doing so with Fortune in now, so he did eventually find it. Did take until the carousel, however, to make it good.
And the first support item is going to be popping out for Lisa. Typically, you do want to find the Locket as the best option here. We'll see what he can finally get. There's also an encounter coming up to see if he can get extra items to juice himself up.
What do we got?
It's going to be a loon.
Oh, empowered tears.
Oh boy, this is just reroll heaven. This is kind of crazy.
Surely
2, 3, and
is.
4
So certainly going to help out for Dish Soap going into that kind of Invoker line. Who else is kind of stuck on some reroll lines?
Ningli could still continue to go for reroll here. Maybe looking for something to help out. Honestly, any of those I feel like would be okay.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a 1-cost boon, so not really good for like the Kog'Maw rerolls. It's all the 2-cost and the 3-cost rerolls that are getting the bigger, increases from this.
Yeah, I think Dr. O is probably the happiest here because he is going to go for, once again, the Ghostly Zyra line. His extra emblems are Behemoth that fits with Shen, Sage, and also with the Ghostly. So I think this is the most likely reroll for him.
He also has 3 costs sitting on the bench, so can already start to fish for some of those Zoes appearing early if they get rerolled.
Ooh. Asta contesting Fortune alongside Bintum. So we'll have to see if they end up running into each other at any point, but Bintum is on the full loss, whereas Asta won a couple games rounds earlier on.
Asta's going to run straight into Dr. O, so it's going to be fine. This means Bintum probably is able to preserve his 5 loss streak, and we'll see if Double can do the same thing on this very similar, very strong Story Weaver start.
Bintum's considering it.
Push your luck. Come on. There's no
got
way.
it, right?
Rolls a 5, so he's committed for the next stage to be in this line until he can find the cash out, but it will be a sizable one.
Yep, it's going to be a 10-win streak cash out, so 50 stacks for him. We'll see if he can go into the Kaisa line. He does have the items for it. The last wisps are already on board. And for Asta, this is a great item. This is actually the best item for Fine Vintage Story Weaver because the Moonstone gives you so much extra HP early.
Yeah, Moonstone, a great hit for Asta, and we'll see how he keeps rolling them. As you said, right, you can't itemize Kale, but you kind of can, because you just give her some stats from all these support items. Unlike some of the other compositions where you want a 3-item carry and then the supports, this one, sometimes you can just jam a ton of support items, as many as you can actually fit to buff her up.
Ningli actually rolls a Caitlyn out of the bench slots, and also has another one in the shop, so 2 away if you really want to try to 3-star that.
Yeah, and he's going for it. I mean, he's 3 Kog'Maws away. He's level 5. He rolled the 30. Is a little bit slow on the hit, but decent economy right now with the 34 gold. And we've got an augment selection coming up. He hasn't slammed any items. He is missing a 2nd tier, but he can go Shojin. He ends up going on the Caitlyn. That's surprising for me.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I thought he was going to continue to try and lose streak until he can see his next augment, make the decision there, but he's actually going for immediate power in this spot. I wonder if he's going to pivot out of it necessarily. Like, not having an itemized Kog'Maw kind of lowers your combat strength quite a lot.
It
The ability to go Shojin Nashers, which would be fine Kog'Maw items, and instead slams these, which makes me feel like he wants to instead push levels and
Go to
pivot into
Lilia.
Lilia.
He does have an extra sniper, so he doesn't actually need the Caitlyn. I think that's why he's going for it.
But still, the item's not going for an Asher's, and instead the Morello, when you're playing around Kog'Maw, it's definitely not what I would have expected.
Yeah, I think he may be recognizing the tempo. We're going to get silver augments once again, and that means there's not going to be a lot of crazy vertical caps right here unless someone hits the branching out like we were talking about. Dr. O'Ori committing to reroll.
Yeah.
Rolled it. Yeah, there was.
Putron had it, but picks Fine Vintage instead.
3 fine vintage players? What is happening?
Yeah, that's wild. I wonder which direction Sean is going to be able to go with that fine vintage, because we kind of had 2 like clear directions of Story Weavers and then kind of the melees, but here I'm not seeing it personally.
I have never seen Mythic and fine vintage being played together. This is a first for me.
No,
does have Stimpack,
you don't want all of the
He's
void
gonna
spawns.
a lot of extra items.
You don't want to go back to all the void spawns that we had with all the ZZ route portals?
No, actually no.
No?
No, thank you very much. Oh, that was a bit of a nightmare
I loved
for
that
CN.
comp.
Yeah, we saw like a 6 Void Lean beat a board with double the gold value. But look at this board right here. Dr. O finds...
Wait, what?
What?
That's illegal.
How?
What? Oh, rolling for days. Did he just send it on 6
I mean,
and then
he has
just
10
found
gold.
3 canes?
5% chance and he hits. Okay, this is going to be pretty bad for some of these players out there because we have a lot of people that picked up fine vintage, most likely angling for melee compositions.
This is so nice because it stabilizes him on stage 3 because he just has a 2-star cane. And then he's playing Ghostly anyway with a +1, so you can kind of slot it into your board. You can find room to just play this cane.
Yeah, I mean, you're also just taking a look at maybe even being able to like swap out something else, get the Morgana in later, keep the Sage. That's wild, actually.
Once he can put items on this thing, like he does have like Edge of Night.
Oh, there it goes.
Like, this is a 2-star cane on stage 3. Like, might as well put some items on it and just win your rounds, preserve a ton of HP.
Oh my god, people are going to take such a heavy hit here, especially looking at Asta and Bintum that are still on loss streaks. If they run into a board like this, they could be in for a world of hurt when it comes down to how much HP they lose.
The question kind of becomes, do you pivot into Reapers or do you just play the comp, but just now with the 2-star cane?
You definitely just play the comp. He has the extra Ghostly, so he can go 6 Ghostly and on level 7 and then roll for Zoe. The crazy thing to me is that he still has rolls. He found that within 9 rolls. A Kane 2 on level 6.
I didn't even notice that.
That's just...
Oh, God.
Well, there's at least one on the carousel.
Yeah,
You know,
everybody's starving for canes. They're going to be chomping at the bit to go get that one. Asta might take it away. He just wants the belt on there, and so another cane gone.
Bintum actually picked up a Galio, so that'll help out the comp a lot when he actually wants to cash out this fortune.
Yeah, and a couple big other hits for the forecast is going to be Lee Tu-Chuan. He's playing fine vintage, finds the Lee Sin early. Usually you don't want to take the AP, but you can turn it into a support item. So we'll be paying close attention to what the support item roles actually are. You know, there can be some pretty bad ones here, and Bintum actually... Did he cash out? No.
No, the Latent Forge.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Latent Forge comes in. Infinity Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, Wits End, Ludens Tempest. I mean, Infinity Force seems like kind of the obvious choice when we're looking at the Fortune into potentially Kaisa based on what's on the board right now.
Yeah, I think Infinity Force has to be the option here. When you're playing this composition, you just want as many items as you possibly can, and putting on a backline isn't really that bad. It's not ideal, it's not the best value, but you can go with it.
Well, this cash should be coming up, so we are going to get a chance to see that, but Bintum has lost a substantial amount of HP.
Yeah, runs into double as well. He's at the top of the lobby, 3 win streak, no secret why. That is a very strong Story Weaver board right there.
Oh, and it's going to come down to what Bintum actually cashes out. Personally, my favorite for the 50 stack is going to be that Blacksmith's Gloves. It goes great on someone like Silas that can flex a lot of different items. But there are some low roll ones as there. If you hit the wrong artifact, which is a possibility, and the wrong support that come together, it is a risky play, but Bintum needs the points.
Quietly, Dish Soap has been just winning every single round. He started at 80 health because this was risky moves, and he's on a 9 win streak playing around those kind of invokers that you were talking about, has the 2-star Loon.
Yeah, and he also has built an army. So what we're looking at is 3-star Alloon angle into Exalted. Now, this is a very, very fun line. It's almost completely uncontested, and it does massive damage to enemy backliners. So if you're backline-centric comp, you might be shaking in your boots.
Yeah, alongside him, you know, double at the top of the tables, as we said, on a win streak. He just needs 3rd or better in order to make it happen, and we should be seeing this cash out coming very soon from our Fortune players.
Now, Asta's really close as well, as yet to get that loss streak snapped, but once again in kind of a similar boat as Bintum, where you've taken so much HP, and we're going to see Bintum actually be able to get that cash out beforehand. Let's get a look at the Wolves as well. Oh, there's going to be a big cash
Kaisa and
out
Chop,
here.
that's nice, at least to start with that.
Oh, but it's only a 40 cash out. I was a little bit surprised. I think he might have had to take his fortune off to avoid breaking some streaks here. But this is not going to be ideal. It's going to be very dependent on what are the forecasts he hit.
Duplicator and a lot of money. He has a pair of Kaisa's, pair of Gallios. It's a good start.
Yep, the Galio taking off the carousel. It's going to be nice to be able to get the upgrade just in case, but Wolves will help it a little bit to see if you can get some extra items, some extra gold. And then pair of, let's see.
Pirot, that's
Oh.
disgusting. We hate to see that.
That's what I wanted to say. In this composition, the best possible solution for you is actually to get more items. The duplicators and the gold aren't really all that important. You usually have it because of the lose streak, but not finding the items to fill the comp out is kind of bad news, especially not getting that IE.
Yeah, if he can pair the Udyr and duplicate it to Udyr 2, that might be a good stabilization point, but it looks like he might have to use this duplicator on one of the 4 costs because he rolls all the way down, doesn't find the Kaisa or the Galio, and we see it used on the Kaisa.
Needs to stabilize now. 10 loss streak, already 22 HP. On the other side, I think Asta has hit the perfect amount of support items here. The Moonstone is the best one. Attack speed for the Kale, you need a little bit of it. And because you're all clumped up, the Randuin's going to work as well.
And Asta looks like he's cashing out in this next round,
Yep.
so a little unfortunate for him to run into Bintum, who just cashed, so he gets kind of smacked pretty hard by Bintum. But now it's a 50 cash out, as you were saying what Bintum was looking for, Asta's got.
Yeah, Asta, we're going to have to look at how that 51 does come up. The tree was shining, so it means it will pop now. And we're going to look across the board. It's going to be gold. Okay.
Oh, and Asta's going to have to pick augment quick, so he's got his cash out coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, Li Tao actually sees a Reaper option. Doesn't actually take it.
There's actually a massive one here coming in for Dish, so
Oh, the
potentially
Umbral
for
crest.
Umbral. Oh, he found it.
Umbral crest.
So
Wow.
Pick up.
I have never actually seen this before, but this game he has a chance to go 9 Umbral for 75% HP execution.
Here's the cash from Asta. We end up seeing a Tactician's Crown being the pickup. He still has one little present to collect, and it is just a little bit more gold. In fact, it was a Galio, so that actually makes the board. Asta is looking for that. He's playing Fine Vintage, Story Weaver, played the Fortune Cash Out, and now it's all coming together with 7 Story online, and a bunch of these Fine Vintages have popped. Couple more cooking on the bench.
16 HP, he does have the strongest board for now, but we're going to have to be looking around these lobby and trying to find who might actually outcap him here. First off is Lee Sao. We haven't checked on his support items for a while. Actually finds pretty good ones coming in for the Reaper side. You can also play Fine Vintage with Reapers, but it generally is considered a weaker option.
Yeah, finding, you know, both Shred and Wound from these support items. So it's helpful, but yeah, as you're saying, it's not as terrifying as this Kale with the Zeeks and the Randuin's tanking everything up. I mean, it's just definitely, you're like, oh, okay, you've got some utility there. That's kind of
So Reapers are generally considered a burst composition, and support items rarely provide you with offensive power. They're more about defensive ability. That's why they typically fit with duelists a little bit better, but I guess he, you know, didn't really hit the units to fit the line.
Yeah, and you know, Lei Chuan, we were talking about hitting units. We just got a quick look there. Had the Lilia too. Actually, very good-looking Mythic board. Did just take a loss, so we'll see kind of how that continues to play into this lobby, since some players like Bintum and Asta, both very strong off the Fortune cash outs.
Dr. O found the Ghostly Augment, though, so that's going to help out a little bit. Double 61,
Ooh,
also
4,
leaning a
4.
bit more into the Ghostly, too, with that 4 Ghostly from the 2 emblems. So, wow.
It's a weird synergy lineup, right? 4-4-4 is not something we see too frequently.
No.
It does work out, but unfortunately, I think Double 61 actually has a lower hand when you compare it to Dr. O here. He's already sitting on 6 Ghostly, has one of the best 4-2 augments in Haunted House. So I'm not sure what Double can realistically play for. He does have the HP advantage, so maybe just a tempo game plan.
Yeah, it looks like he's able to still beat Li Sao, who is quickly bleeding out here on a 6 loss streak. Going to be a really tough spot for him with his Reaper Fine Vintage. Double, even if his spot was worse than Dr. O, he saves so much HP. If he can hold on, he just needs 3rd to get into check.
That's true. And it was also tough for Li Tao because Dr. O actually had that Kane 2 so early, right? So not actually even being able to upgrade that either doesn't feel good.
Asta
but
gets the Aurelia for the
that's
story.
wild.
He also needed that shred a little bit, so it's absolutely great find for him. He's going to be able to cap out his board. I think for the Story Weaver board, the most important thing is still you need to push those levels. A lot of the power comes in with the legendaries, Rakan for the extra resistances, and Wukong also fits your board. So we'll probably see him going down that route.
All right, Li Sao in a lot of danger. Has not been able to find Kane 2. I think, you know, Dr.
Oh,
O
there it
finding
is.
Kane 2 early definitely hurt him, but he does get it. So this is the opportunity to come back. Also, these are pretty good support items for the Kane, having the Banshees, having that Aegis in the front, and also having the Edge of Night. This is a big thing for capping out the Kane board.
Yep, does find all the items he needs here. I still think he's a tad bit weak for this powerful of a stage 4. It's going to really come down to positioning and if he can wrap. Unfortunately for him, he's just stuck on the Shen here, so not able to get any purchase.
Yeah, let's see if he can actually deal with the other Kane, though, with the AoE. He does get through the Shen, gets through the other Kane, and actually will just get directly to the Zoe. So Dr. O going to take a massive hit from Li Sao.
Wow, that was much more one-sided than I imagined. Ew.
A lot of attack speed coming from just both the Banshees and the Aegis, and I guess that just kind of ends up working out really well, especially because there's even the damage increase from the Eternal Flame.
True, true. Just getting the shred there as well. I kind of underestimate that board. So we're going to have to see the race between, you know, coming in for Dr. O, who's really, really struggling for points, and double 61 on the top of the lobby. Who can hit those boards? On the other hand, Ning Li, we were talking about this, looking like he was going to be pushing for levels.
Ooh, look at this Soap's board, though.
Yeah, 6 Umbral online.
That's amazing.
2 away from finding this, but I think this orb up here, this is the second part of team building, so it's actually 1 away from a loon here.
Just wants to find it first, but also try to keep some econ, right? Like, you don't want to just necessarily roll all the way down, but this Umbral board is going to have to make sure you can keep up with the rest of the lobby. Luckily, you are running into Li Sao, maybe a little bit more unfortunately that Kane 2 did just get upgraded, so
yeah, pair of Udyrs here as well for Dish Soap. That's a big spike that could come through Umbral Udyr with these items. I think is reasonably strong.
He has the board he's looking for. He just needs to level a little bit more, and I think, you know, we're going into the decision-making point here. Typically, it is the Umbral Crest on the Lilia to deal with Reapers. You want the burst damage in to go and just finish that target off fast.
And we immediately see him selling off the Udyr, right? So he's actually going to be swapping that over, and he just needs to hit that extra Lilia. But it's a very contested line in this lobby, actually. I think there's 2 other Lilia players, and I think both of them were on the Lilia 2. Actually, no, Ning Li only on Lilia 1, but there is a Lilia 2 in the lobby.
Li has the Lilia 2.
Yep.
So this is the way that Ning Li actually won his championship in the CN region. I think it's a massively underplayed composition. You have a lot of tankiness from for Dish Soap, and also it's just you have a lot of stuns. You don't need to focus that much on frontline. Everything can be focused on backline to get your burst damage against those melees.
Yeah, both Dish and Ning Li rolling down at the same time. Both of them looking for Lilia, right? Dish Soap also looking for the Elune, and it looks like he found it. He also picks up this Ornn 2, which is another unit that I think was being looked for by other players in the lobby.
Yeah, it would be nice to get the behemoth up.
He sold one.
Udyr 2.
Jeez. It's so strong right now. Speaking of strong, Asta on the other side still has this 7-story Weaver. And I think that Silas is just back there.
Yeah, Silas almost got the kill, not quite able to do it. Now that she's still alive, Bintum might just go down. The 2 Fortune players run into each other, and Bintum gets smacked by Asta.
I feel so bad for Bintum. I think something happened with his fortune. Maybe he skipped around or something, but he ended up cashing out on 46, not the 50 that he was looking for. It was a very bad cash out, only gold, no items, and then the PvE round just fed him a bunch of rods.
Yeah, it was definitely an unfortunate circumstance, especially for a player that has really wanted to get those points. But we'll wait and see if anybody actually puts the lobby into check.
Ning Li has found Hui 2, but not even a Lilia pair on level 8. At least that can try and bail him out a little bit, but he's trying to paint the Annie right now to try and give even more strength. 7 Mythic online.
Actually just sold it.
Okay.
Maybe just preserving those Hui stacks for something else.
Versus double, this is kind of a weaker board, so maybe something Ning Li can hold on against, but he needs first to enter check, and this board does not feel like it cuts it in this lobby.
He does have a Wade 2, though. I do want to mention that out. That's very strong with 7 Mythic right now. The only problem, I think, is he actually low-rolled a little bit on his support item right there. Gets the Spite, which is basically a melee-only support item. Also contested on the Lilia, like we talked about. Still not able to find that, so it's going to take a little bit of time for him to ramp up. On the other hand, I think the big story here is Asta, 6-win streak, still pulling ahead.
It's a great fortune cash out from him, and I love that, you know, Fine Vintage into the fortune, so he gets all those extra components that you were saying you need for Fine Vintage to set up this beautiful Fine Vintage Storyweaver line, the comfort zone for Asta playing around the Storyweavers.
This is the VN special. You don't get a spat, whatever. We'll still play the Storyweaver line. That's what YBY1 was doing in Golden Spatula, and it seems like Asta, with the spat, of course, is going to hard commit to that place. The only danger is something like these Morganas coming out with those units so bunched up.
At least Dr. O is actually fighting up against a Ghost, so maybe a little bit less firepower on the other side. But as we take a look at the left, it's going to be Ningli versus Li Tuchuan.
Yeah, and it's the Lilia 2 versus the Lilia 1, but the Hui makes a big difference. That's a final cast from Lilia. It's too much. Li Tuchuan will be able to hold on against Ningli, and Ningli really wanted to put those Lilias back into the pool, but he's not get that win.
Oh, I guess people really do want to see a long game here. There's 3 Lilia players. Ghostly showing up here. That could be big.
Gosh.
For both Double 61 and Dr. O. Who's going to get it? Is Lisa going to deny
it?
Hero of the lobby. Salute.
Yeah, does not let 8 Ghostly come to fruition in this one.
Could technically use it also, to be fair.
Yeah,
If you have the Kane, maybe just put it on
Oh,
something
no,
else.
I'm going for the hero narrative. He wants a long day. He doesn't want EMEA walking away with the championship too early. I want to make sure Panda hears this in the caster room.
Yeah, well, Double is on a 5-loss streak, 10 HP. His board was definitely struggling, and we're going to take a look at it now. This feels tough in the lobby. I feel like a lot of players are much stronger, and Double needs to finish 3rd. There's a lot of players on death's door, but one of them is Asta, and he's just winning everything.
Yeah, so you're taking a look at like the bottom 4 players, and at that point, 10 HP and below, could be multiple eliminations in this next round, depending on how the matchmaking goes. I wouldn't want to run to Dish Soap or Asta.
I think Double 61 is unfortunately going to go out here. His front line we were talking about, it was the lower hand.
Oh, it's Asta.
Doesn't have any
Oh,
restart.
no.
You jinxed it.
Oh, Asta la vista, Double 61. This is not going to look good for him.
His front line is bunched. It's going to be a one-shot. Oh, and this is the Alawi.
The Alawi juked it, able to dodge back, try and buy some more time. Morgana not really getting it done as a main carry, and we're going to see Double go down. So we will not be seeing check for him. Looking to extend our tournament a little bit longer.
Ooh, Dr. O's dead too.
Oh, he does fall.
He high rolled so hard on the Kane and then gets contested by Double.
Wait,
I feel so
Li
bad.
Tuchuan is also dead.
Double ends up in 5th, gets a couple extra points there, will inch him ever closer.
The 3 Ghostly players hold hands, go out together, and then all the hopes are left on Ningli. If you want to just get that, set 12 sneak peek faster, it's down to Ningli.
That's true.
It is.
If Ningli does not go first here, we're at least getting towards our 5th game, but Ningli still has a chance to enter check if he can beat both Asta and Dish Soap.
Well, is going to be Li Tuchuan versus Dish Soap, and then Asta versus Ningli. A really good Zephyr positioning here from Ningli to make sure that it was the Tom Kench that actually took that instead of a backline carry.
Yeah, massive play there. Ningli still just on the 1-star Lilia though, and Asta having so much power with the Storyweavers. The Hui keeps it close, but not close enough. Ningli gonna take a big hit. On the other side, Dish Soap able to take down Li Tuchuan.
Li Tuchuan was also contested on those invokers, so didn't really hit, and we see all of the people holding hands going out. Ningli still with 7 HP. But how is he going to get past Asta? Let's take a look at his board. He still needs the Lilia 2 to make it through. And, talking about weird outs right here, it is potentially possible for maybe a Mythic to pop out here.
Sure.
That would probably be the best out we could see here. But he's stuck on level 8. He can't even get that 10 Mythic, even with the Sentinel.
Yeah, it's very tough for Ningli, especially since, we just see the power, the 6 Umbral, this Exalted comp that, you had mentioned a couple of times as something that was being played in CN. We had not seen it yet in Dish Soap, of course, knowing that line, able to go into it. And on the other side, Asta in the comfort zone once again, 1st or 8th player very heavily. And this is that kind of style, playing the Fortune plus the Storyweaver with Fine Vintage, going all the way down to very low and then winning out.
This is at least his 4th game of Story Weaver so far. I believe it's actually his 5th.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of games.
If you're able to put the time in to win Trick, a lot of people do not know the fine vintage
Ooh.
Story Weaver line.
Wait, Asta versus Dish Soap, one of them is actually going to end up getting their win streak broken here.
Yeah, it's possible that Dish Soap can actually take out Asta, but the Zephyr there onto the Elune will slow down the initial damage, and that might buy enough time for the Kale as we see the front line getting deleted. Udyr buying a lot of space, but at the end of the day, there's so many units still alive for Asta as it's only the Elune remaining, and Ning Lee losing to the Ghost will go out in 3rd. So we're at least getting 5 games today, everybody. There's no check yet.
I feel like Ning Lee even knew the writing was on the wall, actually went to go watch the other showdown that was happening. Dish Soap shook his head. He knew he wasn't going to be able to win that matchup, but we've got one more shot here. Dish Soap finding the Silas 2.
Well, it still looks like a Silas 1 here. The big thing about Asta's board is he has so many backliners. The Elune is very ineffective. It targets the line with the most HP, and if you look at that backline, it's just too difficult to take out the carries.
Yeah, and it's just going to be that Azir 1 not having enough damage to add to the Elune, and so the Elune's not able to get the job done. We see the cast, it hits the backline, it does a lot, but the Knight's Vow also providing that Omnivamp, that extra tankiness, making it very tough for the Elune to get through. Udyr tanking up quite a bit, but he's not targeting the Kale. Now he's down. The Kale keeps healing every little bit of damage the Elune does. It's far too slow. Dish Soap gonna take a big hit, and Asta, I think, is gonna be able to run away with this.
Wow, what an amazing game from Asta coming in here. It's still not done. I like what Dish Soap did. He placed his Udyr as the only unit in front and wanted to use the revive to block off one of those Kale shots, but the cadence was just a little bit off. The Kale didn't actually target and get stuck on the Udyr here. Now he has another chance to maybe try with the set 2. We've seen this before. The assassination of the Kale would end this decisively for Dish.
He can't afford it though.
No. It's just going to be a set 1 on the board. Comes down to a little bit more positioning. The Alawi there from Asta on the front line, hoping that it's going to be able to hit something impactful as they enter into what's potentially the final combat.
Got the Udyr with the Zephyr. That's going to slow it down, but I wonder if Udyr can maybe wrap now. When we see this charge come through, he gets towards the Aurelia, doesn't get close enough to actually grab on. So once again, Udyr can't quite make it, but now with the Tiger Stance on the Aurelia. This might be the way to win, but the Sentinel,
going forward,
Sentinel comes back and saves it. Dish Soap will fall. Asta with the full win out, our 1st or 8th hero.